In this video, I will show you how to set up the HIPAA Eligibility Checker. So if you download it and install the program now, we make it work. The program relies on the database, and we need to connect it to a database. We assume that you have a database, a SQL server or MySQL, Oracle DB2. Any professional database will do. We have tables to store the requests, the alleged request header, and the detail table. Then we have tables to restore the responses, the response header, the response members, and the response benefits. And in case we got an error message in return, there is a table to contain the information. The eligibility request validation table. We can create the scripts manually. You can execute the scripts manually by clicking on this blue link, but it is easier to just go through the database, set a visit, and let it do its work. In a separate step, I need to create a new database in SQL. So I go to this Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, click here on New Database, and I name it General Hospital. Assuming that the user of our eligibility checker will be a hospital that uses the product to download to get eligibility information on patients in its care. So that's it. I don't have to do anything else except giving it the name and secret server. That's just that it creates the database. Now I go back to the setup visit. It will choose the database. It'll connect to the server and database and in checks for the tables. It'll configure all the setup and do that for the ED, iExchange, and 999 tables. We have SQL Server. It's a local installation on the SQL Express, and we use the database. None of these tables exist now, and I want to create them now. And this went in no time. All the tables are created in the database. I click on Next. I will go with the default and the setup checks. Okay, I do need the tables for ED, iExchange. I'll create them at this time. These are the logs, the translog transaction log, and the send log with a detailed table, plus the trading partner table that contains all your trading partner information. So we'll do that to will be create 999 tables. 999 is not really important unless you depend on it. Then it is very important. We'll do without it for now. We will not set up ED, iExchange at this point and click Now. So now our database, our connection is all done. We have connection. We have empty tables. Let's go into the setup of the application. We have a couple of options with processed funds. One is to leave them in place. One is to move them to an archive, and the third option is to delete them. This means you have somewhere a copy, because if you don't, yeah, it can happen. That files get loaded twice, and that can only confuse things. Next is log. Yeah, our applications, or keep a detailed log on all actions the application does. So we want to keep a log of every file processed. If you have everything automated, you don't want pop-ups. So let's click this. And we have another option, process results. We want to see them now, but later they can be irritating. It's a level of proficiency in the beginning. You want to see all messages at the end. You just know what's going on. You just click Next and do it. Check for updates. Sometimes we publish updates every couple of months. If you are happy with everything, you don't want to check for updates, you click here. We usually have documents in black and the data in red. You can reconfirm this here. Miscellaneous setting, use a TN from dating database. Well, that's a specific setting when you create EDI transactions. Eligibility requests from database where the records come from a different source, maybe from a practice management system, maybe from some other external source on Excel spreadsheet, for example. And you have a TIN, a transaction number that you want to preserve for the whole request and response process. Yeah, you click this, it's a complex issue. From now on, we don't do that, but here it is. And now we click Save. And record is saved successfully. Next, I need to set up the company. Company is, well, this is your company, and we said this is General Hospital. And we are at 100 Main Street in any town in Maryland with the zip of 2108555. And we don't need a zip form. Our ISA identifier will be General Hospital, and that is just the 15 bytes maximum that are allowed. And an identifier like this will get a ZZ as qualifier. It's mutually defined. The GS2 will also be General Hospital. There is a tax ID, and I put just some fantasy value in there. A plan ID. No, it's not required, and I don't have one being a provider, an entity code provider, or hospital in this another hospital, and we identify our files. Visit 3-letter prefix. The contact person will be Jane Doe, and her telephone is 301-555-1212. Extension is not needed. Fax is not needed, but email is. So it's janedoe@gnh.com. Right now we are in a test load, so we leave it at that, and context ID has to be 9 digits long. So I made up something fake for 1, and now I'll save it. And company data is successful. Close. Okay. Note can be replaced with any product, nearly any product. The generic company setup we could have. So, yeah, Eligibility Checker is now fully functioning, and you can create new requests. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.